Remember that time Donald Duck became a Nazi? No, seriously, there is actually a film in which one of Disney's most iconic characters repeatedly does the Nazi salute. Yeah. People love to jump on the bandwagon whenever a big corporation comes under fire. And Disney in particular is such a great target. Whenever Disney decides to fire someone because of some old comments or jokes they've made, people are very quick to bring up the company's own spotted past. Like back in 2018 when James Gunn was fired from his directing job on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 because of some honestly terrible jokes he'd made 10 years prior. And I'm not just saying they were terrible because they were offensive, they weren't even that funny. However, people generally liked James Gunn. People who had worked with him, like the actors from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, knew James Gunn as a kind and funny person. And 10 years is a long time to mature both comedically and as a human being. The things he might have believed or thought was funny could very likely have changed in that time. And therefore, a lot of people quickly came together to defend James Gunn and point out the ridiculous double standard that James Gunn would be fired because of some old jokes he'd made, but Disney's own allegedly racist past should just be glossed over or forgotten. People started sharing pictures online from various old Disney films in which, for instance, caricatures of black people were featured, and also an image of Donald Duck seemingly wearing a Nazi uniform and saluting a picture of Adolf Hitler? Now, Donald Duck is one of the most famous Disney characters. He is part of what is called the Sensational Six, which include Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, Goofy, and Pluto. These are also the most prominent characters in the Disney parks. To have one of these characters who are basically the face of the company portrayed as a Nazi is just crazy. This time Disney was really caught with their pants down. I mean, there's no way they can just brush over and recover from being literal Nazis. This was just too bad, or good, depending on who you ask, to be true. I mean, this obviously had to be a fake image, or a film made by someone else to discredit or throw shade at the Walt Disney Company, right? Right? But nope, this was an actual, legit Walt Disney production. But of course, this isn't exactly what it seems like. Many people were quick to just share the image of Donald Hiling because it's fun to hate on big corporations. But if you actually dig a little deeper and, watch the short, you'll notice that it actually has the complete opposite meaning than the one that the people who shared it to discredit Disney wanted it to have. Sure, this is a propaganda film, but it's not like many people would want it to seem Nazi propaganda. It's actually pro-America propaganda. So, what is this film actually about? Well, the film titled Der Führer's Face, or originally Donald Duck in Naziland, opens with a band of prominent fascist personalities such as Heinrich Himmler, Joseph Goebbels and Benito Mussolini marching through a land made seemingly entirely out of swastikas and playing a frankly iconic song. The song, also titled Der Führer's Face, was written for the film but was actually so popular even before the film came out that Disney named the film after the song and not the other way around. Anyways, so they played their song and then they marched to Donald Duck's curiously Hitler-shaped house, where it's revealed that it's actually only 4 a.m. in the morning. Already we can sort of gather that Donald probably isn't too happy with the Nazi way of life. After being pushed out of bed with a bayonet, Donald gets dressed and then he eats his breakfast consisting of a slice of a literal loaf of wood, a portion of bacon and egg flavored breath spray, and a coffee brewed from a single coffee bean that he's clearly not allowed to have. Back in the 40s during the war, resources were scarce because a lot of people were out fighting in the war instead of farming or whatever, and a lot of the government's money were being spent on weapons instead of food production. This meant that what little food was left had to be rationed out. America was hit by this as well, but obviously Disney is trying to make Nazi Germany seem particularly bad in this regard, which they probably were. So, after finishing his breakfast and a bit of light reading in Mein Kampf, Donald is escorted to an extremely evil-looking factory where a voice tells us that it is his glorious privilege to start his 48-hour workday. Here it's his job to screw the caps onto artillery shells of varying sizes, whilst of course still showing his allegiance to the Reich by saluting every time a picture of Hitler is shown. You know, I feel like it probably wouldn't have gone over too well in Nazi Germany if you saluted the Führer with your ass. But that's none of my business. At least Donald is getting a paid vacation in the form of a few swastika-shaped gymnastics poses in front of a painting of the Alps. Still more of a paid vacation than most Americans get, am I right? That's not even funny. In the end, Donald is forced to work overtime, which ultimately results in him having a complete mental breakdown. When Donald wakes up again, it's revealed that it was all just a nightmare. But he's shocked when he sees a shadow of someone with their right hand raised, seemingly in a Nazi salute, on his wall. However, he is relieved to find out that it's only the shadow of his model of the Statue of Liberty, which stands on his windowsill. Donald, wearing his Stars and Stripes pajamas, jumps out of bed to kiss the statue and proudly proclaim, "Am I glad to be a citizen of the United States of America." And then the film ends with a drawing of Hitler, which is hit squarely in the face with a tomato. And that's it. That's the film. So, was Donald Duck a Nazi? I don't think so. He had a dream in which he was reluctantly forced to work for the Nazis, but you can hardly fault people for the nightmares they have. And this is why context is key. Of course, when you see an image of Donald Duck wearing a Nazi uniform and hiding in front of a picture of Hitler, that seems pretty damaging. But if you actually take your time to understand the context, you would know that this film is actually trying to make the complete opposite point. But Disney obviously knew that this film might be taken out of context, and that showing one of their most iconic characters in a Nazi uniform probably wasn't a good idea. That's why, even though this film was actually really popular when it came out, it even won the Oscar for Best Animated Short in 1943, Disney has kept it out of general circulation. So yeah, Disney did try to hide this film, but not because they wanted to hide their secret Nazi allegiance, but because they knew that people would take things out of context. But yeah, that was pretty much all I had for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want more weird Disney history or just more videos like this, consider maybe subscribing to the channel. But until next time, take care and so long.
So wie Heil!